Okay, the trick with these is that you need to understand the notation. And this notation right here, when you have this parentheses, what that's saying is this number is the endpoint, but you don't include it. Parentheses says don't include it, versus brackets, which do include it. Okay? So -8 is an endpoint, and as you can see, all of these have -8 as an endpoint. And 2 is an endpoint. You can see they all have 2 as an endpoint. But -8 is not included, so we need it to be open. Which ones are open? Right here and here. Okay? That's because this says it's got to be open, does not include 8. And this 2, it's got a bracket. Okay? Which ones then say 2 is included? Okay? This one has 2 included, filled in. This one has 2 included, filled in. The only one that's got both of the correct endpoints correctly filled is this third one, C. Okay, so C is the answer to this one. Okay. A quick hint before we go to any further ones. You will, if you forget which one is correct, which one is included or which one is not included, some of the ones that you're going to see say something like this. It'll say something like negative infinity. Okay? And negative infinity, or all the way going up to infinity, will only have parentheses around it because infinity is not an actual number, so you can't include it. Okay, so since infinity and negative infinity always have the parentheses, you know that parentheses means you don't include it because you can't include infinity. Infinity is not a number. That's just saying keep on going. Okay, that's a little way of you remembering if you are in your test and you're looking at it and you don't remember which is which. Well, if there's a problem or something that has it written with infinity as one of the endpoints, you know that whatever that is, in that case it'll be a bracket, right? And then you'll know that brackets mean you can't include it because you can't include infinity. But anyway, short answer, and I'm going to erase all these marks for a second, just to go back and say this one more time before we go further. Okay. This parentheses right here says go to that number but don't include it. And so again, which ones have -8 as an endpoint but not included, not filled in? This one right here, this one right here. Okay. Bracket says do include that endpoint number, so fill it in. Which one has that 2 as an endpoint filled in? That's this and that's this. And again, the only one that's got both correct endpoints correctly filled is. Okay, how do you write this in interval notation? Well, first of all, it says, I'm going to put an X here. I'm going to write this because this, see how this says and? So we can write this as a single compound inequality. I'm going to put X in the middle, okay? And notice this, X is on the bigger side of -6. It says X is greater than or equal to -6, okay? So that looks like this, right? And on here, it says X is less than -3. And that looks like this. So we've then got endpoints of -6 and -3. And remember, the notation gives the two numbers written like that. Can we include -3? Well, does it say or equals here? No, it doesn't say or equals. So when do you not include the endpoint? Or when the endpoint's not included, what do you write? You write parentheses. So it looks like that, okay? But this one says you can include -6 as a solution. And when do you include the endpoint? With brackets, like that. So what we're looking for is the -6 side has brackets, and the -3 side has parentheses, and that is answer C. Let's keep going. Okay, what is the graph of this or this? Well, notice what we've got here. Up here. Okay, we're saying we can go all the way as low as -infinity, meaning you point in that direction all the way. Okay, there's no end to how low you can go, -infinity. Can't include it, of course, so it's got that. And you go up to -8. -8 is not included in the solution set because it's got parentheses around it. So it says you're going to go up to -8 but not include it. Which one has that? -8 not included. That's this one and this one are represented here, right? Going from -8, but -8 is not part of the solution set, all the way down to -infinity, okay? And what about this one? This part says 6 is the endpoint, and we're going to go above that all the way to infinity. But do we include 6? Well, it's got a parentheses, which means you do not include it. So which one has that? That's this one right here, and this one right here. Okay, going from 6, but not including it, all the way up to infinity. And there's only one answer that has both of them correctly done, that we circled on both of them. And you can see that that's C, this third one. So this one is it, okay? Because since the numbers that are the endpoints that aren't infinity and negative infinity, these numbers right here, they have parentheses which says don't include them. So those endpoints right there shouldn't be filled in. Okay, one more. Okay, how do you write this as an inequality? We've got 8 as the endpoint here, right? Okay, notice that it doesn't include 8, and we're going less than that. We're going to all the numbers from 8 all the way down into the negatives, into negative infinity. So we're talking about values where x is less than 8, but we can't include it. Can't include 8 because this has a parentheses, and it says that means that it doesn't say or equals. Okay, or, and now we've got here 10 going from 10, but not including it, all the way up until infinity. So now we know that x is going to be greater than 10. Can't be 10 because it doesn't say it's included, but it can be greater. So we've got x being greater than 10, all the way as great as you want to go up to infinity, or x is less than 8. Which one represents that? Let's look on the bottom. X is less than 8 or x is greater than 10. That is A. Okay, hopefully you're making sense of these.